What's the other? Men and women are equal. Men and women are not equal. Men and women are not the same mentally, physically, or emotionally. We're not the same, and that's okay.
I think that what is it, modern women are feeling like, and feminists feel like saying that men and women are not equal is somehow making women look weak.
But what is weak?
You know what I mean?
I'm saying? Like, define that. All of these are singular, problems to the individual. Men can be weak.
Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content. So this subscriber says, hello, I'm new to your channel. I like your topics, but I don't agree with your opinions on modern women and feminists. I consider myself both. I guess my question is, why is being a feminist / modern woman a bad thing when it comes to being in a relationship? All right, so what she said, she disagrees with us. I don't agree with your opinions on modern women. Okay, so we're not feminists. Okay, so it's okay to disagree because we are not about everybody agreeing with everything that we say. Let's put that out there. So yeah, so we want to take the question on. Mm-hmm. So you guys know that we're not feminist. Right. We're not. I guess on some level, I would, this modern woman thing. I did a little chit chat with this person briefly in email, and I wanted to make sure we were on the same page on what my belief of what a modern woman was. So I put independent. I told her, I said, is independent, doesn't depend on anyone, doesn't believe that marriage or even committed relationships are necessary, doesn't mind wearing the pants in the family, a strong person, responsible, and they also believe that men and women are not equal. I said, does that make sense to what it is? And she said, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Okay, so independent part, I guess.
You can't be in a relationship and be independent. You have to be interdependent.
Right.
So you have to be able to work with someone else. To be independent means to be single. To me, in my opinion. Right. You know what I mean? Because you're only dealing with yourself, your bills, your problems, your everything. Once you get married, you're dealing with the collective. You're dealing with another human being. So you have to be interdependent. You have to be able to work together.
I becomes we or us.
Yeah.
I and me becomes we and us. Mm-hmm. Together, relationship. And the feminism, that's the modern woman part. So you agree with my take on our take on what we think a modern woman is. So obviously some of those traits are not bad. When you, like Kara was saying, when you're independent, there's a point in everybody's life, every woman's life, where you're going to have to be independent. And it's when you're single. So right now we're independent, right? Mm-hmm. So that has a place. But I think when you're talking about in relationships, and I just don't believe that. I guess it's just, this is one of those things where I think it's just, I don't know if it's opinion or preference, one or the other. But I just think that the man wears the pants in the family. Yeah. And this is where we get a lot of pushback from a lot of women, because they feel like that we're literally pushing them back to the 50s. The first wave of feminism, the general point was supposed to be have equal pay in the workplace. Yeah. And for women to have a choice, because what it was a long time ago is that men simply would not let their wives work, or you know what I mean, and they kind of felt like they were being held back in that way. So the idea of a woman just having a choice, that's a person just having a choice. I'm fine with that. It's what happened after that. Like it became something completely different, where women have the choice, but then also making men putting them kind of into a beta role.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like kind of purposely put them into a beta role. And by the way, if you're a man being put into a beta role, if you shouldn't be able to be put into that, if you're a masculine man in that way, you shouldn't be able to, that shouldn't be able to happen. But that was the idea, is that it made women more masculine. Don't you think?
Yeah. I just think women that are, feminists are annoying. I mean, I'm going to keep it real. I don't like feminism. Yeah. I think that it destroys families. It doesn't show the beauty of being a woman. Mm-hmm. It's like we're trying to be men. Yeah. Like men it's so much more fun to be a man. Right. As what someone said, there was a guy that said, everybody wants to be a man, nobody wants to be a woman. And it's like, no, there's a lot of beautiful things in becoming a woman. You know what I mean? Just because you go to work does not mean that you're a man. It means you're going to work.
100%.
I don't get that. I mean, so I've been working since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
It's just going to work. What does that have to do with trying to act like a guy?
Nothing.
All of a sudden, why do we have to destroy the patriarchy?
Right.
Why, you know what I mean? I don't get why, you know, what did he say, that guy that it's not natural. That's another thing. It's learned behavior to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is that guy? I forget his name. He said whenever I'm going to say it, but he said, whenever it's not natural, we give it a name.
Oh, he's talking about Jerry Levine. Jerry Levine.
He said you don't call a fish a swimmer. And that's true.
Yeah.
He said, so just because you're going to work does not mean you're independent. We don't call men independent men because they go to work. We call that being a man.
So when you have to attach a name to something, a label
then
to something,
it means it's not natural.
It's not natural when you have to attach that name to it. So whenever I hear someone say, you know, independent woman, it's kind of like, well, why are you're creating a new type of woman is what it is. And so I think the big misconception, and even chatting with you, like I think the biggest misconception here is that like you think that we're saying that women shouldn't work. And you know what I mean? Like it shouldn't. And the thing is that that's not where we're coming from. I think that women, we work. What do you mean? I mean, we work, and I like working. It's not like it's not a problem for me. I like working, but I think that it's this idea that because what happens is with the feminists is that they feel that they can do it all.
And it's also unhealthy to do that.
Because
do it all. Because nobody should do it all.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the reason why
Shared
when people come into relationships, you can share the responsibility. Right, yeah. And someone's supposed to take the load off of you.
That's the
also,
point.
You're supposed to be different, to bring something different to the table. If you guys are both doing the same thing, then what the hell do you need each other for?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, look, I'm just not into feminism. I think that I don't think it's needed. I know how people feel about that. I just don't think it's needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, men don't have it great. I don't know why we think men have it so much better than us. They have problems too.
Yeah.
Just like we do.
I think people don't see that.
You know what I mean? It's just strange to me. And then all of these women at some point want to get married and then get mad when men don't want to take like a sort of, I wouldn't say a back seat, but they want to be a man. You can't have it both ways.
I don't think that it's bad to be a modern woman. I think it's problematic.
Yeah.
Because once you get into a relationship and you're the modern woman, right? You're a lot of these women, what happens is that they're okay, like they want to wear the pants in the family, like all this you agree to, right? And they want to be the boss of the home, and they're running the show basically, and the guy doesn't necessarily have to do anything, you know, but he's there, he can do whatever, you know. It's kind of like a up in the air type thing. Roles can get reversed at any point in time. You know, I mean, it's like that kind of thing. And I guess if that works for your relationship, it's fine. But I do think that's very problematic because there's going to be a point in your relationship where it has to be some type of clarity, right? And I just think that I don't know too many men.
Yeah.
I don't know too many men are going to want to take that deep of a step down in a relationship. I'm not saying that women should be like these barefoot and pregnant, you know what I mean, and just Susie Homemaker and, you know, whatever. Some women love that. I think it's great. I don't have a problem with that at all. I love the 50s style relationship. I loved it. You know, I thought it was a good thing. But I do think that it has some type of balance there. The idea that you're going to be the one in charge wearing the pants, you know. I just don't know too many men they're going to be. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure there are, clearly.
I'm just not into it. I think that it ruins things. I don't get where women getting equal rights turned into like a Cardi B sort of floor show at the Grammys, where all of a sudden that's feminism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like everything is feminism. Everything that happens is like, you know what I mean? Like I told you, I was working out. I wanted a new sports bra, and all I wanted to get I saw the She Fit commercial, and this woman she can't just sell me a bra. She has to sell me. We are living in a man's world where women's sports bras are being made by a man, and I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. So, girl, just sell me the bra, okay? Yeah. If anything, men were trying to help us out because no woman was stepping up to do it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Exactly. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I don't even want the bra now.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying to me that I'm being force fed this unnatural thing.
Right.
And then our kids, our daughters, our little girls are being force fed this, and it's just not natural. And you know, all day long I watch just reckless looking women, and I'm talking about young girls, like 20 and 18, just out of nowhere over sexualizing themselves and talking too much and not being a lady. And it's just like gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to hang around. I don't even hang around no woman like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just think these girls are only 20. Imagine what they're going to be like when they're 40.
Yeah. It's going to be
you know
bad.
What I mean? It's just like, that's what's the most like annoying about it. You know what I mean? So go to work.
It's like,
I don't even think that we have a female problem anymore. That's another thing.
That's another thing. We talked about
I just don't think that there is a need for feminism anymore. Women get paid as much as men do now. The wage gap is it's not real anymore.
Yeah.
Women get paid as much as men now.
Right. I think that
it's just true.
I don't
you know what I mean?
And then there's a lot of women CEOs. There's a lot of women just entrepreneurs. There's a lot of women doing, I'm sure there's some positions out there where maybe a woman's not getting, but I don't see. We know a lot of professional women. By the way, we know a lot of professional women, and they're all getting paid the same amount as their male counterpart. They know their colleagues, and they're doing the same job. They're all, that I know of. I guess there would be some, I'm sure there's somebody out there who's not, but yeah, like I don't get that part of it. I think that this, especially the second wave of feminism, this got kind of weird because it did become more about over sexualizing yourself. The second wave was like, it just hit everyone like a tidal wave because it's like, now we're calling, like people who are being sexually explicit and just talking foul and not, I guess, ladylike. Now they're being called feminists because you're talking like that.
My point in saying this is that I don't see the need for it. I don't get what we're trying to do here.
What is the point of the
What is the
feminism
end game of this? You know what I mean? Because it's just like, the only reason people really voted for Kamala Harris is because she's, and let's be real, it wasn't Joe Biden that won, it was Kamala Harris that won.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's why he picked a black woman.
Right,
because he knew that was going to get the woman vote. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, I just don't get what we needed.
It doesn't make sense.
We made our point.
I can't imagine a feminist in a relationship because some of the feminists are like feminists and modern women are not into committed relationships at all. And it was really interesting is that this is what we were saying in one of our other videos. We don't understand why the red pill community and the modern women community are not getting together because feminists and they have some of the almost the exact same mindsets when it comes to relationships. They usually just date.
Yeah. I mean, what were some of the things that you said about the
ones that I asked her? Independent, doesn't depend on anyone, doesn't believe that marriage or even committed relationships are necessary.
Okay.
Doesn't mind wearing the pants of family, is a strong individual, responsible.
And it's, first of all, women who are at home are strong.
Yeah, like why is that?
That's just dumb. Women who are housewives are strong. That's a job.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, I don't know why anyone would think because someone is dependent on a man for the finances, but she's taking care of the household.
Why should not?
Why that would be considered strong? But also, I know a lot of so-called independent women are weak as hell.
Yeah.
They cry over everything.
Everything.
And second of all, that to me these are all things that don't like as far as taking responsibility. Okay, that's not a feminist thing though. That's just a human being thing. You need to take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand the difference. When you're single, you're independent.
Yeah.
When you're married, you're not. That's just the fact. You know what I mean?
Men and women are equal. That's the only really
doesn't depend on anyone. Everybody depends on everyone.
Yeah.
Even men depend on everyone. There's not a business or CEO in this company that doesn't depend on someone. When people sit around here talking about you don't depend on anyone, that is no one gets anywhere in life without the help. That whole idea that doesn't depend on anyone. Even when you're single, you depend on people. That's, you know what I mean? Like I was saying, there's not a man in this world that is walking around here and doesn't depend on somebody to give him something.
Yeah.
In this, you know what I mean? So that is out. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand it. What's the other? Men and women are equal. Men and women are not equal. Men and women are not the same mentally, physically, or emotionally. We're not the same, and that's okay. That's how we were supposed to be born.
Yeah, but I think that what is it modern women are feeling like, and feminists feel like like saying that men and women are not equal is somehow making women look weak.
What is weak?
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Like, the define that.
So like the idea of, when I think about men and women being equal, my thoughts is that there's part of being a woman. There's being a woman in general is there's strength and femininity. That's the part you're. Right. And then masculine is strength in that too. So there's nothing weak about either one of those. So, but there are just things that we are just not the same with, and I don't understand when women say that we're the same. I don't get that part at all.
But even when we go back to the word weak really is really all of these are singular like problems to the individual. Men can be weak.
Yeah, but that's why we always talk about women and nature, because there's women and men is because there's a part of you that is always going to come through eventually. I feel like people who think like this believe, like even beta males that get into relationships, that willingly get into a relationship to get taken care of. There's obviously a lot of men that do that. Those men eventually are going to start feeling like women. Right. So they're going to start to get fed up and start to get themselves together and try to get out the door. It's the same thing with women. It's like there's a part of your just the natural part of you being a female. It's going to show through at some point. It's going to come through at some point in a relationship. You can try to sit there. I'm telling you, you can just try. I'm not even talking about money right now. I'm talking about just the roles being switched so drastically. Like there's going to be a moment where you want to be a girl. You know, where you're going to want to be feminine, and you've already taken on this ball-busting masculine role, and you're going to start, it's going to be hard for you, it's going to be hard for a woman like that to then all become meek and mild.
But to say that, like you were saying, but to say that they're afraid that if we don't say they're equal, that they're weak, well, then you're already assuming women are weak. You're calling yourself weak.
Yeah.
So unless I act like a man, I'm weak?
I don't get that. No, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, no, that doesn't make any real sense at all. So I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those people that I just think that when it comes to the person, whether you're a man or a woman, all of those different traits depend on the person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like independence, we all should have on some level. But once we want to share our life with someone, you have to make room for them. So, being paid the same as a man does not make you a man. It makes you a woman that got paid the same as a man.
Right. So it's like the idea of feminism.
Are men weak because they can't push out a baby?
Yeah. Does that make them weak?
No.
That's
something we do naturally.
But so that's what makes us different. There's things that just make us inherently different. So I guess feminism is just one of those things where I just simply do not agree with. I can't. I don't understand it. I don't know why we're still doing it. I think in the beginning it kind of made some sense of women trying to go to work and they want to get paid equal pay. I guess that. But
no, there's some things I don't like to mess with, and that's nature.
Yeah.
When it comes to nature, I like to leave that alone. You know what I mean? I've been working my whole life, and I don't feel like a feminist. I feel like a woman going to work and paying bills.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't get how that all changed into something odd.
Yeah.
And weird. And I also think that on some level it's made men weak. Because now they're not as ambitious as they used to be. They sort of want you to pay for dates with them and stuff. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like their need to be a man to us has started to weaken.
It's lessened.
You know what I mean? They complain over little things that most men would never complain about until now. The only reason they're complaining about it is because we're complaining about trying to be men.
Right.
If we weren't doing that, they wouldn't be doing that. Yeah. We complicate things. You know what I mean? Like we're saying life is hard. Life's not that hard. We complicate things. Yeah. We make things harder than it really has to be. I never had a problem with feminism. I actually thought it was great that women had an option of whether they wanted to go to work or stay home. You know what I mean? What I have a problem with is that all of a sudden everything becomes a feminist moment. Yeah. And I just think it's stupid after a while. I'm just not into it at all.
Yeah, right. No, I agree.
I like being a woman. I know women who are working women, and they will say they like going to work, but they say it is harder because when they come home, their husbands are not naturally domestic, and so they end up doing things that even when they say, "Oh, we were both going to cook and we were both cleaning," they end up cooking. Yeah, they end up cleaning. They end up doing the kids. They end up picking up out on the floor because men are just not naturally good at that. You know what I mean? So I know plenty of women who say that they go, "Oh, I like working," but they like, "Girl, it is hard though," because sometimes I come home and my husband he will literally not have started anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of them say that. And it's just because men aren't naturally, they're not domestic.
Yeah.
So they can do it. There are men who can cook and clean, but they're just not naturally domestic.
Have you seen a man watch a child and a woman watch a child?
Two different
things. It's two different experiences. Being a feminist in a relationship, if you have a beta male, then there should be no problems. It should be fine, right? It should be no problems. We're just saying that it'll 9 times it's going to creep up.
Yeah, no one's done anything about alimony.
Yeah.
So none of you feminists need to be taking alimony from any man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about divorce. That's very true. I always want to talk about.
They didn't seem to. They didn't see feminism didn't seem to fix that problem. You know.
Yeah, because that's funny. So when women get a divorce, or when people get divorced, and they're like a housewife, the husband kind of required, and I guess you can say that, say it that way, but require the wife to stay home, and she wants to stay home. And they get a divorce, well, yeah, for a certain amount of time. There needs to be a lot of changes in the divorce laws, by the way. But because we said this before, it's very slanted in the wrong direction. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. But if the woman is a stay-at-home wife and then the husband wanted it to be that way and she did that for a number of years and they get a divorce, depending on who messed up messed up the marriage contract is what it is, then yeah, I do think a woman should get paid alimony if she was a housewife, but I think it should be for a certain amount of time. You gotta move on. You gotta know how to make money. I think all women need to know how to make money, period. But there are these women out here who make plenty of money and they get a divorce and they still want alimony. I don't get that at all.
No, you call yourself independent and you call yourself a feminist, but you know what I mean? I don't know why we think men have it so much easier.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? They say that men are more likely to commit suicide, men are more likely to get the death penalty even if they did the same crime as a woman.
They have different stresses.
They have different stresses in the world than we do. Yeah. So we have different stresses than they have.
Yeah. And then women have this mentality where they can do it all. That's what we're talking about, the modern woman. Because even this, you were the person who wrote this is saying that, I can kind of do it all. I make this, I do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, but
you shouldn't.
But you shouldn't have to. And I just feel like when we don't balance, I don't know. I can't really. I don't want to judge your life, but I don't know you know you well. But I just think that when you're trying to do it all, there will be imbalance in there because there's no way a one human can do it all.
Well, we can all do it all. We can all get married and have kids and go to
properly.
Work. You know what I mean? But when you get married, you're not supposed to do it all. That's why you have a partner. Otherwise, stay single.
Yeah. That was supposed to share responsibility is what it's supposed to be. So if you're still trying to be the head of the family, that doing it all is going to catch up with you. Women naturally though, we wear many hats. We're multitaskers just by nature. Like there's parts of it, that part is true, but we are also people who can release a burden onto somebody if we need to. You know what I mean? And if you can't do that because you're trying to stick to feminine. This feminist modern woman mentality, you just don't want to release it, but you feel burdened by all the stuff that you took on, and you don't want to release it because you're trying to stick to being a feminist. Then that's where you're gonna get screwed up.
I did a whole thing on talked about Oprah when she kicked Stedman out, and that's what I'm saying. Women are much different than men. She kicked this man out of his house, and that's what I'm saying. She's not acting like a man at all.
No,
because a man would never do that to a woman. That's what I mean. We had some guys in comment get mad at that. I was like, no, you guys are not understanding what I'm saying. That this is what happened when women get in charge. We get different. We become bossy and rude. And a man would never kick a woman out of the house. You know why? Because men are inherently providers and protectors. You know what I mean? So no, a millionaire guy would not kick his wife out and put her in the what do you call it? The
guest house.
The guest house because of COVID-19.
No,
but she did. Did she know this man for 30, 40 years and she kicked him out? No man would, if this were reversed, Stedman would never kick her out.
The majority of women become different when they come in power.
They do.
When they have any form of power, women can be leaders in their own right, obviously, but when they get that kind of power, they do use it not like men. When we were watching Alba and Preach, and they were talking about what would you, there was a statistic out there that was talking about who would you rather be your boss, a man or a woman, and the vast majority of people say they much rather have a male boss. Women are not. I think it was I think he said, and it was almost all of the women. I think it was like 8 out of 10 women were like, I would want to have a male boss. And then when asked the question, why would these such and such thousands of women that got did part of this experiment, And when I asked that question, why would you want the male to be a boss? They said because men are nicer than women bosses. And I would have to agree with that. True. I would have to agree with that. I'm not saying that women can't be bosses because they are. There's a lot of women.
I've been a boss.
I've been in charge.
I've been a boss.
Yeah, I've overseen some stuff. So yeah, but I can say this, that
I prefer working for men.
I prefer working for men too.
I do too. Men are much more logical and calmer.
Yeah.
Women can be kind of vindictive and on their power trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A little bit. And that's just the way that I feel about it. But I'm not saying that I have never worked with I've never seen a woman. I've never worked with a woman who wasn't, because I consider myself a good manager and, but I mean, anytime I've ever worked for someone, the better outcomes have been when men were in charge.
Yeah. But so when I'm a preacher talking about that study that they did with that, I thought, well, that would make sense to me. That the majority of women
and men
would rather work for men. Said they much rather work for men. And it really is only because what we were saying before in the other video is that when women become head of something and they're overseeing a bunch of stuff and they're making a lot of money, more than you, or it does.
Well, it gets in our ego.
It gets in our ego.
That was my point about the Oprah thing. Yeah. Is that Oprah makes more than Stedman.
Right.
And that not only did she kick him out and put him in the thing, she went on television, national television, to tell everybody this. And Stedman would have never done that to her. Yeah. First of all, he wouldn't have kicked her out. He would have had her stay there. But this woman but see, that's a power trip. Yeah. What she's trying to say is my house. See what I'm saying? If it were the other way around, it would be our house.
Yeah.
But because women are much different when we are in power.
It's different. Look at Hillary Clinton. Look at Hillary Clinton.
Well, have you seen couples where the woman just can't be quiet and the men are just sitting there
beta
and just taking it, and then
it's like.
Not even lying. I was on a train one day in New York, and I've seen this several times in New York. And this girl just gets right up and slaps her boyfriend in the face. And you know why she did that? Because she knew nobody was going to stop her or go. But let her boyfriend do that.
Oh man!
Let her boyfriend go backhand her on the train. The police would have him down on the ground. And I've seen Spanish women do this on the train. White women. And so if a man slaps a woman, then that's just cause for jail time. A woman slaps a man, and that's just because he was being a jerk. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both have areas where it's unfair. Or it seems unfair. Most women would say, what did Bill Burr say? He was just like to say that there's no reason to slap a woman. You just don't do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so most men would say, no, I'm not going to slap a woman. Because I know one guy told me before, if you ever slap a woman, I could actually kill her. No, if I slap her.
That's another part of
we're not the same.
We're not equal.
I asked him. I said, what? He said, what? But what if I slap you? He said, you won't kill me. It will just hurt, and I'll be mad, and I'll probably hold you down. Yeah. But if I actually punched you, it might break your neck. You could literally die. Yeah. And he was just like, he said, we are not the same. No, we aren't the same. So when people say that we're equal or we're alike, we're not. It's strength being a woman. We have different strengths. You know what I mean? And when we're doing our strength right and we come together, then it's phenomenal.
You don't have to call it feminist.
You don't have to call it anything.
It's called being a woman.
It's called being a woman.
It's called being a woman.
This whole thing about, Yeah. I mean, like, I like cooking for my man. Yeah. I like cleaning up after me. I mean, why? That's just natural for me.
I looked up characteristics of a woman, right? Because when I was having a conversation with this person, I was like, well, let me just look at the characteristics of a woman, because we're talking about Wonder Woman. Let's just talk about a woman, what a characteristic would be. So I'm just going to read these off. Nurturance, sensibility, sweetness, supportiveness, gentleness, warmth, passivity, cooperativeness, expressiveness, modesty, humility, empathy, affection, tenderness, being emotional, kind, helpful, devoted, and understanding. All those traits
makes me strong.
All of those feminine traits,
because that's what I was designed to be.
Yeah, it's all this extra added masculinity. I don't know how to be that. I don't think you need to be a feminist to prove anything. I think that if you're just being a woman and it's feminine, then that's it. Period. There's no, I don't need a title with that. Because that is strength. All those characteristics I just mentioned are all strength.
I don't need. That's another thing. I mean, maybe I don't need someone to tell me who I am.
Right. That's
another thing.
Exactly.
It's just like I don't need a group of women to tell me who I am. I know who I am. You know what I mean? Like I don't need that sort of like with that Cardi B, I don't cook, I don't clean, but yeah, I still got that ring. It's just like, okay, so what? You're a damaged woman. Don't tell me that this woman who was a stripper and was drugging men to get their money doesn't have problems. And we not only give her Woman of the Year, but we put her on some feminist pedestal. That's psychotic.
Where are we at?
What are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's just like Bill Cosby went to jail for that.
How come she's not in jail? And
she's sitting here admitting freely. Yeah, I used to do that, and she's sitting here getting Woman of the Year.
This is where we are, and this is why I have a problem with it. This if you're asking us, could you ask us what's so bad about being a feminist modern woman? I mean, I wouldn't even call it bad. It's problematic. So yeah, tell us what you think about that. Did we answer it well? We always try to go in depth with stuff. So let us know what you guys think, what you guys feel about feminists, and then this modern woman that everyone's talking about now. And leave a comment below. We would love that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And that's it. All right, everybody have a good day. Bye.